My name is Ray Mata, and we're in my house in Carson, Washington, in my little old shack. I was born in Minnesota, in a little northern part of Minnesota, way out in the boonies, 1924. My dad was very musical. He even got a phonograph that nobody in that neighborhood had, but nobody knew what it was. Even one of these 78 RPM records, and he kept ordering records from Montgomery Ward or Sears. And we had quite a stash of phonograph records, and I was pretty young yet, and when that happened, and that kind of got ingrained to me, and I got to like music, and I was about 15 when I ordered my first guitar from either Sears or Montgomery. I don't know which, I can't remember, but I think it cost me a whole $3.50. And I had that for a few years. It was one of those Gene Autry design guitars, and I had it for a couple of years, and that one thing led to another, and I really got into the playing music from then on. I like country western and quite a few different venues of music. Polka is a happy music. My dad, I was 4 years old when he passed away. And but I was long enough that I really got to know him pretty good. He passed away he was only 36 when he passed away, so he wasn't very good. Yeah. Matt H. Maddow.
Matt H. Maddow.
H for Henry. Jenny Amelia. She's a very fun lady. Yeah, she had to take over when Dad passed away, and we were in a family of 7, so that was quite a shock. But she managed to keep us in line, and later on, after quite a few years, she remarried again. But anyway, she passed away in 1967, I believe it was. You know something? I just barely made it through 8th grade in grade school. And we lived in an area where there was no high schools or nothing, so our education was not much. That's all I had.
Wow.
Pretty smart guy, huh?
Yeah. Like, I didn't know that about you.
I was farm labor.
Uh-huh.
A lot of farmers, they needed help, so they picked on me to come and help them do some stacking hay or whatever needed to be done, and it was farm labor. That my first job was. In that area, there was dance halls and dotted around the countryside, and we used to, my brother Arnold and I used to go to those dances, and anyway, I guess Rose happened to be at one of the dances and got to dancing with her, and one thing led to another, and anyway, I don't really remember what happened, but I guess in the end we got married. She was working for her uncle, which was about 100 miles away, and he was a farmer out there, and I was kind of courting her by that time, and anyway, one day I bought an engagement ring, and I had a Marlee Ford, so I drove it all the way to where she worked, her uncle's, and popped the question there, and gave her the ring, and she refused. He was never into trouble, and seemed like he and Grandma Rose, his mom, were, he helped in the house and stuff like that. So he was next to the youngest, and Kevin was younger, but he never caused trouble. In the beginning, long hair wasn't there, but later on, when they came around, everybody had long hair, so of course I was not very happy to see the boys getting long hair, but what can you do? Roger had long hair, and Darwin had long hair, and Dan had long hair, and all their friends had long hair. So, but I guess nothing was wrong with that. But just old fellows, hard to get used to. A lot of old timers really were angry at long-haired guys. I was an infantry rifleman, and we were in the island of Luzon, which is part of the Philippine chain of islands, and we were on our squad or platoon was on we were going to flush out some Japanese from. They were in caves in the mountainsides, and I guess they had guys that were, with the telescopes. They could tell what we were down below, and they could tell when we were on a move, and that morning we were trying to advance up to where they were on the hill there, and they started. They had their guns in a cave in the mountainside, and so I guess what they did was they pulled them out of the cave, and there were mortars, something like cannon, and they fired a couple of shots into our group, and one landed right close to where we were, and which got me with some shrapnel, and our company commander got hit. He got killed, but actually my wounds weren't all that severe, but enough to put me in the hospital for a while. But in the meantime, I had contacted Jungle Rot. I was in the hospital for quite a while. They were trying to get that cure that jungle rot, but they decided it's no use, so they put me in a hospital ship and sent me back to the States, which didn't hurt my feelings. I've been fortunate to keep my health all these years, and as the time went along, I seemed like I learned more all the time about life, and it's all gone well because all the kids turned out to be really good. You know, some families sad how they go on drugs and all that stuff, and it seems like our families all never did that.
You raised some good boys, huh?
They happen to be good. Well, when we bought that place, it was right after we moved to the state of Washington from Minnesota. And we had to find a place to live because I had a job there at the plywood mill, and that's where I worked for 42 years. But there was a house on the place, but it was most of the houses in that time of the year, country, I call them sheep barns. But that's the only thing available so we bought that house, and I think I got pictures of it, and it had 7 acres there, so we purchased that, and later on we started adding on to the house because it was too small for the family. But I think I worked on it for me and Rose. She did quite a bit of work there. Worked on it for a year and a half or two, and I think we lived in there 40-some years, and we had a lot of fun times there. A lot of family came over. And when I was working at the plywood mill, and a lot of times there was a lapse of didn't have to do any work because I was caught up, and so I started doodling, writing on toilet paper and whatever, and that's when it started, and I kept it up, and I still got my file cabinet has a file of some of my doodlings and different pieces of paper, and so I don't know what caused me to do writing, but I think it was something to keep my mind sane, because sometimes when you work in the mill, it gets kind of wild. The family gives me the most joy. They're wonderful, and I never had any crosswords with them, and they don't care what I do, just so I don't get in trouble. Went to church every Sunday we were Lutherans, and every Sunday we were usually the last one out of church, because they had coffee hour and most people just left, and so Rose always stayed with some other church ladies and did the clean the dining room and wash the dishes and put the cups away. So, but yeah, we were very involved in church, and she taught Sunday school, and that was part of our life, I guess.
Yeah.
And I'd like to say something real nice. Well, Dan, I love you, and it's sure been nice to have you around all these years, and you'll be a good boy from now on.